Hey guys, Justin with Certified Property Inspection here, doing something a little bit different today. This is our first video in a series that we're calling maybe Certified Property Profiles. We don't quite have a name yet, but when we do, we'll let you know. Anyway, our goal is to profile some local businesses, people in the real estate industry as well as outside of, and share that with you, introduce you to some folks. So we're here today with Wendy Miller. Wendy, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Wendy is an interior designer who is fabulous. I met Wendy about 3 or 4 years ago, I guess. She helped stage a home that we were selling, did a fabulous job, house sold in a couple days when that was still hard to do. Anyway, when I was asked about who could help with this project, oh, by the way, we're in a row home in Baltimore that was completely renovated, top to bottom, inside and out. So when I was asked about who to consult, Wendy was the first person I thought of. And Wendy did everything here from design and layout, color choices, cabinets, flooring, paint, light fixtures, you name it. So Wendy, I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit to everybody and tell us about the project.
Okay, I'm Wendy Miller and my business is Wendmill Designs. About 5 years ago, I was in a position where I had to sell my house. So I went back and got my certification for design and staging. And since that time, I have helped over 600 people sell their houses. So it's crazy, and you were one of them. I mean, it's just a great story. On the other end of that, my personal life and professional life, I'm renovating an old barn. So I think that's where we came in together because this old row home was a client who had lived here, and he's selling the house. So it was, that story alone just brought so much to me because it's my passion to really help my clients and then in turn bring a good financial return on investment because at the end of the day, I'm actually an accountant. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah, so that's where I started my career. So making good choices that are timeless, that have a good return on investment, that are not too heavy in terms of cost, that will be able to make this property sell is what my focus has been. So all of the choices you see in here will appeal to the particular buyer who is interested in this property. It's usually a younger property person. It's usually somebody that wants to be in the heart of the city. It's a dynamic type of client that's going to come in and buy this. So we did those things that would appeal to them. And one of the main things for whenever you're selling a house, kitchens and baths, that's where we're going to put our money if we want to do some more bells and whistles.
Right. So you mentioned something, Wendy. I'm in people's homes every day inspecting them, and I don't really look at the cosmetic stuff, but certainly you can see that sometimes I inspect a home that was designed because the folks who live there like that design process, but maybe it wasn't as appealing to the broader population, and I think that really is your expertise,
yes,
right?
Definitely that is my forte because having the ability to cast a wider net will really help us get more buyers, which of course right now it's a little different. There's not a lot of homes in the inventory, but what I've seen over and over again is that if this was the last house for sale and it didn't have really nice features, it's still not going to sell.
Right. All right, while we're here at the project that Wendy helped on, I wanted to just mention something from an inspector perspective, because the place looks beautiful, but I don't know why it looks beautiful, Wendy does. However, these little stickers on the window here are inspection stickers. There's a lot of renovations and flips and whatnot that are going on in the industry currently, and if you're purchasing a recently renovated home, ask about these little guys. These are inspection tickets. If the work was permitted, if it was inspected prior. Now that inspection doesn't mean it was inspected by a home inspector like us, but at least we know that basic building code and fundamentals were followed, and then it was a licensed contractor that performed the work. You still would want to have a home inspector come in and take a look around just because there's a lot going on and things can happen over time. However, this is a great starting point to know that the basic fundamentals, licensed contractors and tradespeople were hired to handle that restoration. So Wendy, I know that you mentioned the importance of casting a broad net, making design choices that appeal to lots of buyers. The idea of the timeless features so that you're not 5 years from now hating the shiny, bright faucets and whatnot. But also there's the element of the recent trends, right? The 2020, 2021 trends. So
Right.
can you tell us a little bit about some of the specific design choices that you made here and how they kind of fit into that?
Absolutely. So one thing about selling a home, especially in this market, to get you in the top 3 searches, it's always going to be wood floors, granite or solid surface countertops, and stainless steel. So I made sure that those 3 things were taken care of. We did LVP flooring, which is amazing. It's an amazing product. It's super popular, very durable. We used quartz countertops. So this was our splurge. This is wow. And of course, the stainless steel package, which is very affordable. It's a luxury that people expect. And even in townhomes and rentals, stainless steel is really one of those things that's not going out of style.
So Wendy, when a client wants to work with you, maybe they have some ideas of what they want to do, maybe it's a blank slate and they have no clue. I know in this particular project it was an 8x10 blueprint of the floor plan.
Yeah, actually it was one on your phone,
Right.
which was quite
Even
fuzzy.
worse. So what can you do for clients? How do you interact with them, the types of work that you do, and how do they go from an idea or vision to your help and execution? Right.
So this is what's really important to know, that this entire space was designed virtually. This is the first time since the countertops were installed. So this type of design is cutting edge, and it's not because of COVID, it's just taken off, I would say, because of the environment we're in. Being able to do things virtually and making those choices available from your computer helped immensely.
So I know that you start with the ideas, the discussion, the interview with the client, and then kind of go into a color palette of different design choices. So can you give us a feel for how you put that together?
So right off, obviously, besides just having a layout, getting with the client and understanding what their needs are. So this particular story about your client, which lived in this home, I mean, it just brought so much joy to me to be able to work on the project and be able to return that back even better, more than they even dreamed, I hope.
Right.
But their needs were, they just let me do whatever I wanted to, basically within reason. Here's a budget, here's what we're looking for, I trust you, Wendy. So the first place I started out with was the color palette. So there's certain colors that are so neutral, and that's exactly what you want to do, is to cast this wide net with neutral colors. And then adding in these wow factors. So the very first thing was the flooring and the colors on the walls, which were, I think, pashmina and another very popular color. So I didn't do agreeable gray, which is everywhere.
Right. The grayish.
But quite honestly, white kitchens, no matter what Pinterest or any of these other designers tell you, are extremely popular here regionally. And so kitchens that we're doing with my, in my other design business continually are white kitchens. So one question that always comes up is, can I mix metals? What do I put with it? So when you have stainless steel, really you can use any type of metal. And we'll talk more about that later because I know you've got some trend blogs coming out. But in this particular case, we used oil rub bronze, which almost has a black look, but you can mix that with, for example, stainless steel faucet, stainless steel appliances. Having that white neutral background really helps bring it all together, and you really can't go wrong.
All right, Wendy, so folks have an idea, a vision, they contact you, you come up with a color palette, really kind of cultivate what this is going to look like, and then you go into a really cool stage, which is the 3D design stage, where you really kind of recreate the space for folks. So can you tell us a little bit about how you do that and how that comes together?
Absolutely. This gets me so excited because this is where you can really visualize how the space is going to look. You know, you can get all those colors and ideas off of Pinterest, and a lot of my clients do. But putting it all together and making those decisions are what gets people just paralyzed. So being able to provide those same realistic 3D concepts that you see on shows makes all the difference. And so this year, because of COVID, I just started changing the way I did things. And so virtual isn't new, but I invested in those programs that allowed me to do the same things. I have the same programs as Property Brothers and Magnolia Home. So it's pretty amazing because they look so realistic. And I can tell you guys, sorry to interrupt you, Wendy,
I can tell you that the 3D of this property looks like the space that we're standing in. So it's spot on for sure.
Yeah. That just gets me every time. And obviously my client, so I hope he's really happy with it.
All right, Wendy, so we've talked about the design here, and we're in your beautiful kitchen. We talked about how people work with you and the virtual planning and the 3D and all that stuff, but what people really want to know, the 2021 hot trends. So tell us what's hot.
White kitchens are still very hot. The only difference I would say is we're seeing more color in kitchens, and that would be on the bottom. So alternating with a contrasting color as far as the island or the lower cabinetry being in a navy or black. So I've seen a lot of that coming in. With finishes, jet black finishes. This is oil rub bronze, so but still very contemporary. And then not brass, it's not the same thing, but this gold. It's almost a brushed.
So not the Chinese 80s brass that I see on inspections all the time.
Exactly,
Okay.
none of the 80s brass. So those are some hot trends that are still very popular. But you can update your space very easily by just switching those things out.
And what about
That's
the
difference.
easiest update for anybody at home, DIYer, to make paint colors?
Oh gosh, so grays are hugely popular because they're super neutral. I believe Pantone put out 2 colors of the year, and again, it's gray and it's yellow. So the industry is still kind of echoing the gray trend, and it's here for a while.
Great.